Mace is one of the most requested items in the 1.21 update. In case you suddenly missed this update, the mace is a new type of weapon. The mace can deal a lot of damage depending on the height of the player's fall. If attack is successful, the damage from the fall is transferred from the player to the enemy. The main problem in obtaining the mace is the moment of fighting this weapon. The thing is that the recipe for creating a mace consists of two things: heavy core and breeze rod. If there is no problem with the last one, it drops after destroying breeze, then the heavy core dropped only from the ominous wall with a chance of 7.5%. So I was wondering how difficult it will be to get the mace for a player who has just created a new world, and how fast I can get it. Let's check it out together. It all started as always does. I appeared in a new world, on a tree, and just started mining wood blocks to create the most basic tools later. As soon as I mined the cobblestone and created stone tools, I had a brilliant idea. To avoid the long and painful digging in the mine, I could just find shipwrecks. Not far from the spawn location was a full-fledged shipwreck. In the first chest was an extremely large amount of iron ingots, a few emeralds and lapis lazuli. All of this I took, of course. It would come in handy. In the second chest was a treasure map, which I needed. The third contained wheat, a suspicious stew, enchanted leather boots, and leggings. Not that I'm fan of this kind of armor, but any port in a storm. The thing was left for little. You had to find a treasure. How to do it, I think it's not worth telling. It's a simple task. As soon as I came to the location indicated on the map, I turned on the debug menu, found the coordinates of a chunk, a 9, any number, and 9, and started digging. In this chest was waiting for me gold, iron, emeralds, and cooked fish. The first thing I made from iron was a shield, an iron sword, an axe, and of course a pickaxe. This way we moved to the Iron Age rather quickly without mines or anything else. The method works, but only if there is an ocean near you. If not, it's easier to find a cave and mine iron there. While I was busy making tools, night fell. Looking for shipwrecks at night is not a good idea. Not to mention the monsters, they are not big deal. You can see a thing, except of course for sea ruins. They are often illuminated with the sea lantern, which is very convenient. You can find a treasure map in them too, but I had no luck this time and I went on a further search. Not far from that place I found another shipwreck with iron and of course another map. Likely the map led to a new treasure. While I was swimming to it, I could find another ruin in the depth of the sea, and there was a map too. But because the shipwreck and the ruins were almost next to each other, the maps were identical. This time the treasure was extremely far from the shipwreck, so I had to swim for a long time. I even managed to find a new portal to the nether. There was a nice bonus waiting for me in the chest in the form of a golden apple and a few pieces of glistering melon slice. I saved them for later, so that I could create regeneration potions for myself in the future. Naive. Not far from this place was my desired bird treasure. It contained iron, gold, 1 diamond, and food. For the first time, these resources should be enough for me, although the developers themselves said that the trial chambers is intended for players who are at a middle game. Either way, we'll be fine. So I quickly started creating iron armor and said goodbye to my old leather but enchanted armor. Yes, at this point we could already go to the trial chamber, except the catch is I don't know where it is. I could, of course, just try to dig my way to it in the hope that I will find it, but the question is, how fast can that happen? So it was decided to find a village, and in particular, a cartographer. It didn't take long to find one. Literally within 800 blocks there was a taiga village, which I was of course extremely happy about. It was not super big, but in general the village coped with its task. There was a cartographer in it, so that he wouldn't accidentally disappear, I decided to do a little trade with him. I sold him paper I could find in shipwrecks, as well as crafted from sugarcane. At this point, my pockets were empty, and I headed to the cabin to get some rest. The next day, a brilliant idea popped into my head to simply trade with the Fletcher villager. Trees are extremely plentiful in taiga, and the Fletcher needs sticks for arrows. So I set about getting lots and lots of trees. It's not too complicated, anyone can do it. Once I'd gotten enough wood and turned into sticks, I went to trade with the villager, and he disappeared somewhere. I looked for him everywhere, and eventually I came across the dungeon. It was literally generated on the surface, right in the village. This is the great news. The dungeon will still play a part in our adventure. At least one of the chests contained a golden apple. As it turned out, the Fletcher hadn't disappeared, but had been walking in the forest all this time. Without further ado, I began to trade with him, selling him sticks and getting precious emeralds instead, which I spent at the cartographer's. He had to be upgraded to a master before he could sell us the map. That doesn't seem fair. does it? Of course, I didn't have enough wood and emeralds, so I had to repeat this scenario. So let's just skip that part and just move on. The first thing the cartographer offered me was a map of the sea monument, which of course I wasn't happy with. But he started buying glass panels at the same time. Having created a diamond shovel, I went to the nearest beach to mine sand blocks. Once I had enough sand, I threw it in the furnace and waited. As the glass melted, I slowly sold it to the cartographer to increase my trading level. After another 10 minutes or so, I was still able to open a trade in which he was selling a trial chamber explorer map, except that the purchase required a compass. But the compass requires redstone, which unfortunately I didn't have, so I started digging blocks to go down into the mine. When I remembered that there was 1 unit of redstone in the treasure chest, I decided to check if this was true, and to my great surprise, yes, there was indeed 1 unit of redstone in the chest, with which I created a compass and finally bought a map from the cartographer. I realized that the trial chamber was a pretty dangerous place, so I needed to bring enough food with me. I had a few emeralds left, so the best solution turned out to be buying food from the farmer. What was my surprise when I picked up the map and saw that the trial chamber had been so close to me all this time. I got to the trial chamber in the most typical way possible, just by digging down. I had broken one of the ground rules, but I was ready for it. I didn't have any accidents. I got into an intersection. There's nothing scary about it. Everything is calm. So for my own safety, I placed the bed and set up the respawn point. Then I just went to break all the decorated pots. They have different items in them that I will really need. All I did in this room was just search the barrels and try to find useful items. This paid off, as I was able to find enough diamonds to create a diamond sword. I didn't wait long, and I got right down to the business. First of all, I need to get an ominous bottle, because only it can turn ordinary spawners into ominous ones. They drop ominous keys, and with them you need to open an ominous vault, from which in turn heavy core drops. In the first room, there were ordinary spiders waiting for me, not the most difficult enemy, so there was nothing to be afraid of. After defeating them, the bread was dropped to me. Breezes, as it seems to me, the easiest enemies. You cannot even be afraid of them. Their spawner too unfortunately gave me the usual bread. So I went further and found a small room with 4 beds and a barrel. There was nothing interesting in it. My next fight was with the baby zombies. Now here they are starting to be dangerous. They are small and quite sneaky, so it's hard to hit them. Because the spawners were close to each other, there were an extremely large number of them. At one point, I thought I was done for. After all, ordinary iron armor is a bit weak for the trial chamber. But I pulled myself together and showed them who the real dungeon master was. This time I got lucky, and from one trial spawner, a regular trial key dropped. From the second one, unfortunately, it was bread again. But after destroying a decorated pot, another key dropped from it. I did not wait long and ran to open the first vault. From it I got wind charges, a honey bottle, and poisoned arrows. I'll tell you what I learned. It turns out that the items that rotate in the usual and ominous spawners are not cosmetic. They're items that will drop if the player opens the vault when they appear. On the one hand, it's too cheaty, but on the other hand, you can't predict what will happen next. But in general, if you are quite nimble, you will get the desired item. The second key brought me a poisoned arrow and an enchantment book for level 5 sharpness. I could use it. I went on my adventure, and in a new intersection I destroyed a pot, and a diamond block dropped from it. There were 2 more spawners waiting for me on the second floor in this room. Again, baby zombies. I can officially say that they are one of the nastiest creatures in the trial chamber. But the good thing is, there are 2 blocks that can be placed underneath yourself and you will be perfectly safe. From this spawner I got a fried chicken. From the second, again, a failure, a potion of speed. That's a pity. As I wandered around this structure, I picked up a fair amount of iron ingots. By smelting the leftovers, I was able to save up for an anvil. I had gotten sharpness, so I didn't hesitate to combine it with my diamond sword. It was the best solution. I also created a diamond pickaxe. Underneath the official entrance room there is a, let's say, hidden room. In it there is a chest in which I was even able to find a pretty good bow. It's a great upgrade from my old regular bow. Then I went looking for more rooms. It was problematic. It's easy to get confused in the trial chambers, but still I found a huge room. In this room, Breeze and Bugged, 2 new mobs, were waiting for me. Basically, if you have a shield and good sword, Bugged with their slow attack are fine, but if there are a lot of them, it's better to run. After finishing the first spawner, I got a key. I had no problems with other Bugged, but at one point I was on the verge of death. I was saved by a golden apple. After dealing with these enemies, I thought that killing Breeze with his own wine charts would be a good idea. It turned out to be, but it took a long time. I didn't always hit Breezes with my wine charge. By killing him, I achieved the blowback goal. I liked it. By the way, I got bread again from the box spawner. After destroying the last Breeze, fried chicken fell out of his spawner. This time, before opening the vault, I decided to wait until the ominous bottle appears. And what did you think? I succeeded! An ominous bottle and enchanted crossbow, arrows and wind charges fell out. That was the jackpot. The next room took a long time to find, but I did. There were 2 more spawners with baby zombies in it. This is where the frustration awaited me. There were so many enemies that when I tried to escape, I was killed. It was a shame, but unterrible. Good thing I created a respawn point in this trial chamber. It was scary to return without my stuff, but my mongoose reaction helped me avoid trouble. There were a lot of zombies, but spilled water helps avoid almost any problems, so I made quick work of zombies. 2 spawners unfortunately dropped speed potions. By the way, as it turns out, in that room where there were 4 beds, there is another secret room behind the wall. It has a table, a bed, a crafting table, and a decorated pot. As I walk around the trial chamber, the time to recharge the spawners in the rooms had already passed, and so new baby zombies appeared. From these spawners fell a key, which of course made me very happy. I rushed to look for vaults that I had not yet opened. One was in the entrance room. The iron and shield dropped out of it. The second vault was extremely high. I do not understand who placed it there, but from it dropped out iron, music disc, arrows, and a diamond axe with enchantments for durability of the second level. After clearing out the entire trial chamber, I decided to drink the contents of the ominous bottle. I was smart, deciding that I should place 2 blocks under me before the zombie spawns. That was going to save me, after all. It was a great idea, but I didn't take into account that the ominous trial spawner summons projectiles over the player's head, and the arrow that appeared just above me threw me off my pedestal. Yes, baby zombies in armor with swords are not the best opponents. When you're weak, strength doesn't help, you need stealth. So I ran away and hid in the room. The zombie just came at me and I killed them. The projectiles did not appear because I was not in their range. You probably had a brilliant idea to place a block above your head so that the projectiles could not appear, but the developers also took into account this outcome. They still appear, but just below your head. Having dealt with these brave baby zombies, I got a potion of regeneration and golden carrots. As soon as I came to the new room, new zombies appeared and I just physically did not have time to place the blocks, and I was killed again. It's a good thing that in this room, in one of the barrels, I left my old tools, in particular an iron axe, which helped me get all my stuff. Overall, this fight was quite dangerous. The baby zombies were constantly trying to kill me, and the projectiles kept burning over my head. I was on the verge of death again, and I was once again saved by the golden apple. The main problem was that I couldn't find my enchanted diamond sword anywhere, so I had to use my bow and axe. Against zombies in diamond armor, it is certainly difficult, but in the end I was able to win. Not to worry, I also found the sword, but after the battle. How glad I was when from one spawner I finally got an ominous key. From the second, unfortunately, a potion of regeneration. Of course, I didn't wait, I wanted to try my luck as soon as possible, but knowing myself, I still decided that I should wait a bit longer and try to catch the core. So I didn't succeed. I got emeralds, an iron block, and a new smithing template. I realized that I was out of luck this time, so I should look for a new trial chamber. Likewise, I wanted to look for a new village, but I was told that different cartographers in the same village could sell different maps, so I went back to my old village. Again, I had to trade with a villager to get him to upgrade to a master, but this time I had no luck and the first villager would not sell me a map, so a new cartographer was needed. He was no longer a problem, almost. He was willing to sell me a new map, but of course, I needed a compass. I still didn't have any redstone. I couldn't think of anything better to do than just bury myself in the ground. Having broken one of the ground rules once again, the gods of Minecraft punished me. I fell into the lava and burned all my stuff. I was extremely frustrating, but I pulled myself together. The iron golem was kind enough to give me his iron, so I was able to find redstone. When I returned, I bought a map from the cartographer, which I was very happy about. When I was already sailing in unknown direction, I saw that the map was empty. It didn't show the trial chamber icon. As it turned out, this is a common bug. It was fixed in version 1.21.1, but I played on 1.21. Because of the bug, I decided to buy a map again, using the creative mod, and he sold me exactly the same one. It was completely empty. Even after zooming out the map on the cartography table, no icon appeared on it. If the bug is not mine, but Minecraft, I, with the help of the creative menu, roughly speaking, got what I had to, a full map. The trial chamber was much larger this time. I was greeted by spiders that had been safely sent to the other world. I was often lucky enough to get a trial key from trial spawners. Likewise, I don't think there is any point in telling you all about it again. This time it was much harder because I lost my enchanted diamond sword. I tried to get the ominous bottle, but I fell time after time. When I lost faith, there was a barrel in the underground room and there was an ominous bottle of the second level waiting for me. The second ominous bottle dropped when I was least expecting it and didn't even try to catch it among the rotating items. I liked that. After some more time, I still drank the bottle. Without a diamond sword and wearing iron armor, the ominous trials are a very difficult thing indeed. Unfortunately, from the first two spawners, no key fell out for me. It also didn't fall out of the third, from the fourth, from the fifth, from the sixth. By the way, also nothing fell out, as well as from the seventh. The eighth also, the ninth also, but the 10th gave me food. By this point, I was out of food, and the durability of my tools was rapidly decreasing. I knew the risks, but I took a chance. And after the last baby zombie was killed, an ominous key from the 11th spawner dropped out for me. It was difficult, I was worried, my hands were shaking, and to my great regret, I didn't get the heavy core. There was no food, I died a few more times, and I was extremely frustrated. I decided that I should go to the surface as I had one more bottle left, but was extremely short on food. After moving my stuff to a safe place, I held myself to lack of the lives and hunger, and made my way outside. It was no problem, I got the right amount of food and water to make it easier to get down. This time I was as focused and attentive as possible. After I drank the contents of the ominous bottle, I almost died. Breeze activated the trap and I was hit by a potion, and then I was hit by a wine charge and barely survived. Unfortunately, Breeze's spawner only dropped a regeneration potion, but from the second stray spawner finally dropped an ominous key. I honestly didn't wait and let it go. I went to the ominous vault, from which this time a heavy core was dropped. I was overjoyed. I flew to my makeshift base and created a mace out of the breeze rod and a heavy core. It was hard. Honestly, going for normal spawners in iron armor is fine, but it's hard. But the ominous trial requires extra protection, especially if it's skeletons and baby zombies. Better to go there with enchanted diamond armor and weapons. Either way, I enjoy it. Write in the comments how fast you were able to find the heavy core. But honestly, I've seen some people get so extremely lucky that they got the core right off the bat the first time. While you're waiting for the new video, you can watch these. They are also very interesting. Subscribe to the channel, put thumbs up and click on the bell. We'll hear from you again, because we are discovering Minecraft in a new way.